Hey everyone, Dario again. It's Easter Monday. Uh, we're just in the shop right now. Got a bunch of Fox bodies this week. The one on the hoist getting on 3 turbo kit. The other LS one I'm doing. We just did gears on that one, and my partner Toma, he's touching up the tune. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen that we were starting to do some work on this. I brought this thing down to the shop on Thursday night. We got it up on the hoist around 9 o'clock, and then we started tearing into it and started doing a little bit of work and got the engine ripped out because I had a customer who was buying an S10 that I had. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's something to come. So I had a customer come into the shop and he wanted my S10, and he's like, oh, if you know anybody with a small block Chev and a tranny, I want to swap it into this truck that I was selling him. And I'm like, well, it's your lucky day because I got a Malibu that I'm pulling the motor out of, and I'll sell you the motor and tranny for $200. He's like, sure, but I want it when I come and pick up the truck. So Thursday night, we got it all apart. Friday morning, me and my helper, we got the engine out, loaded it in the back of the S10, and put it ready to go for him. So I figured since we had the motor out of the Malibu, we might as well go hard and see how much we could actually get done. And so, notice the flat hood. We got everything done. So over the last 3 days, this is probably the quickest LS swap I've ever done. Mostly because of pre-planning, but it's done and it's driven. I actually drove it today. I don't know what the date is, but it's Easter Monday, 2017. Intercooler piping's done. I just got to bead roll it. Heater pipe with muffler out the side of the car. I was going to go out the hood, but I decided against it. I don't know. It just didn't suit the car for some reason. Just tried to keep the crappy pipe sticking out the side. Got the Cummins cut down intercooler. Holy fuck, that's terrible. Let's see if I got a flashlight to make it a little brighter in here. Not really, but you can kind of see it there. I'll post some pictures of it too, but it pretty much went in directly straight, like right in. Had to do a bunch of cutting, not a big deal, but it all fits behind the grill. I'm gonna cut the bumper down and get it a little more airflow, but it goes all the way up to about here. I don't know if you can see it behind there, but like I said, I got a picture of it. Stock rad. I trimmed out the upper top part of the rad support and did that. Made a couple little mounts. And what else? Battery still in the stock location. Ditched the inner fender. Ditched the heater box. I still got to fill in the hole. Still haven't found my fridge door yet. I'm going to wrap the exhaust with the old wrap that came off of these pipes because I don't want to spend any money on wrap. Computer is mounted on this side. It still has the... When I pulled this harness, I also got a Savannah van computer mount. They're super flat, so you can mount them pretty much to anything. So I just drilled a couple holes in the inner fender. All my circuit breakers and all that kind of stuff is a mess kind of in that back corner. I might loom it up or something. OBD2 port goes around the back. You can see some of the fuel system. I went overboard with the fuel system. I got like $160, not including the fuel pump. So like $200 total. But that's even with using a bunch of used fittings that most of the stuff that when I sell stuff to customers, if I have a used fitting that I have to reuse, I just do half price of new. So I got these wicked red and blue fittings that I would never put on a customer's car because everything's black now. Nobody does red and blue anymore. So it's got the 2 fuel rail adapters. Those are like 18 bucks on eBay. Locally, they're the same price for me. And then it's just got a little steel -6 to -8 adapter. It's got -8 there. It goes down and wraps around. The return line wraps around, goes under the engine, and goes to the stock feed of the fuel pump. I don't know if you can see it down here. I still got to run the screamer pipe for the wastegate, and plumb the vacuum lines, obviously. But the lower rad hose is the stock small block Chev one. I just cut it in the middle, put a short piece of scrap pipe in there. My constant duty relay is down there for the fan's wired, goes up to here. Just put a battery terminal on it to connect it real easy. Intercooler piping is a bunch of leftover stuff. Actually, one of my customers, he's actually a sloppy mechanics guy too, Ken, he gave me a bunch of pipes, but I still valued it at 25 bucks because last thing I want to be doing is adding a bunch of stuff that I got for free to the build to save money. Instead, I just value it at something, and it works out that way. What else? I splurged. So this thing originally was going to have the Turbo 350 in it, and it turned out the Turbo 350 in this was a lockup one. It's like first year model. So I ended up getting, it's going to be probably the only actual free thing in the build, is I got a free Turbo 400 off of a local Facebook classified. And I went through it, bought a bunch of gaskets. I bought a pump gasket, 2 valve body gaskets, a filter, and a pan gasket for 15 bucks from my local transmission rebuilders. They thought I was nuts because I wouldn't spend 40 bucks on a complete gasket kit, but I wanted all the individual pieces. So I did that, and then I went and bought the flexible braided firewall mount dipstick, and I mounted it there. That was a pretty big splurge for me. It was like 45 bucks. I didn't have a dipstick, so I was like, to hell with it. I'll buy it. Instead of screwing around trying to make something work, I ended up putting that in. What else? I don't have a shot of under the car. Maybe when I do the diff will be after tuning. One of the next things we're going to do is just take the 1 bar map sensor out that I have it running on and put the 3 bar in and load the tune. And do that. What else? That's pretty much it. Oh, I ended up using this. So I set this thing on those ICT billet mounts. I ended up using the 1/2 inch setback holes. I have no idea why. I just randomly decided that 1/2 inch was okay, so I gave me a little more firewall clearance. It ended up working out perfect with the Turbo 400. All you had to do is cut off the mount that the Turbo 350 used and drill a hole in the mount, and it lined up perfect with the Turbo 400 biscuit. So I ended up doing that. I ended up getting a drive shaft out of a 2-wheel drive Astrovan with a 4L60. It was probably like a 2000, and I had got a yoke from the Savannah van with a 4L80 and a 1350. So these Astrovans have a 1350 on the diff end, and the Savannah has a 1350 on the other end. So all you have to do is take that end, flip the drive shaft around so the front's the back and the back's the front, pound it all together, and you have a drive shaft for super cheap. The only downside is it's just about impossible. I got lucky because there's about 15 Astrovans at our local pick and pull, but normally they get fucked up by the forks on the loader trucks when they put them out in the yard. But you could probably get one from a regular wrecker where they don't do that, and it'd probably be a little more, but I spent like 25 bucks on a drive shaft. So it's all wired. I bought a 25-foot roll of 10 gauge, and I pretty much wired the whole car with it. So everything's red. The wire that goes to the fuel pump is red, all the wires there. You can see the big red wire goes down to the starter. It goes back down to the alternator here. I used it to wire my fans. Like there's red 8 gauge or 10 gauge wire everywhere. So I spent 20 bucks on that, but it was a lot easier than trying to buy a different bunch of wire, because I know somebody would have called me out on that type of stuff. So I still, right now, the car driving down the road without the diff swapped, no wheels and tires obviously for the diff swap or anything like that, I'm at $1,789. So this is a Turbo LS Malibu for $1,789. I'll hop in it and fire it up. It runs like crap because it's not really tuned at all. We haven't even tried to mess with any of that stuff. I mounted the diff or the fuel pump right above the diff. I'll post some pictures of how I routed this. I ended up using the stock sender and putting a -8 bulkhead in it because I didn't want to weld on the tank. I just didn't feel like it. And this tank has a baffle halfway, so it should kind of work. If not, I'm gonna put I'll just run the tank really full. Oh. It's dark in here. So Chinese fuel pump is actually really quiet. I'm actually pretty amazed. I've used them before, but still, anytime something works that you paid 20 bucks plus shipping for a $200 part is pretty amazing. Hard to see, but I got the factory oil pressure and the factory coolant temp working. So that saved me from buying gauges. Not that I was overly concerned of what the oil pressure was, but the temperature is nice because I don't have a gauge. The factory computer is going to run the ECU, and the oil pressure, the only other thing I really could have is a boost gauge, but I'm not overly concerned about that. Once it's set, it's kind of set. So that's pretty much it for now. We're probably going to be dynoing it at the end of this week, and it won't see the track for a couple weeks because I got a bunch of stuff going on in the shop, but I'll try to get another update soon once I start doing the diff stuff. Thanks.